Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, it is the night before the election, and we have to talk about our final results. Here we go. In the end of the day, I am coming out, and I am basically saying that I'm expecting Afton Ben to prevail by at least over 50% of the vote, because we got new news indicating some warning signs for Republicans in the 7th District. It says here that turnout is down 75%, particularly in Republican districts, counties. So 75% according compared to the 2024 election. This is to be expected. We know that it is going to be very low, but the question is, we do know with low turnout, Republicans are going to show up less compared to Democrats. And as a result to this means the question remains, will enough Republicans show up to make the race close? Well, I do have Matt Van Epps losing by 3 points. That is pretty much, in my view, the worst case scenario. And just seeing how bad this year has been for the Republicans, I will not be surprised to see this outcome. And I'm kind of concerned and frustrated because Red Eagle politics, I think, I don't know why Red Eagle politics is not talking about this election. Real American politics has been talked about this election. He's admitted that, yeah, Republicans are about to get blown out. And I agree. I absolutely agree. Because, this is not the right district to cross your fingers on, because the Republicans won this district in 2024 by like 59%. They couldn't even get it to 60%. Now, Republicans in Florida, we won 2 districts, but keep in mind, we won them like in the upper 60s. That was a 10-point underperformance this year. We won them like 58, 56%, something around like that. So that's a 10-point performance. If this was a 10-point performance this year around, it's going to be in the 40s, like 49%. It's either Matt Van Epps loses 49%, or he goes lower, 47%. I am not sure. You have a very energetic Democratic base right now for the socialist candidate. That is Afton Ben. When you have an energetic candidate, very excited to vote for Miss Ben, and you have a very mediocre candidate, Matt Van Epps, who is really establishment leaning. He's not really engaging with the voters. He is, but they're not excited to vote for him compared to Ben, for the Democrats. And as a result, I wouldn't say confident, but I do think it's very possible than impossible that Ben will probably pull this one out of the hat. And I explained, so basically comparing my results to, I want to believe, yes, we can go ahead and tell the difference compared to the 2024 result. So I was done constructing the map. So you'll see the colors shift because they're going to be less Republican. So they're going to shift dramatically to the left, right? So shift dramatically to the left. And that means Afton Ben's going to be gaining votes over here in the countryside, okay? She is going to be gaining votes. Now, this is right up here, Montgomery County. She is going to flip this county. I'm going to tell you right now. She's going to flip it because there's a big city up there called Clarksville that holds around 100,000 people. She's going to win that city, and she will probably win the surrounding areas. This is going to probably go like 59%, 60%. But keep in mind, this makes up a lot of the population of the district. Nashville, I'm expecting that to go for her by like 75%. So this is the result, 75%. And you have the county down here, which does have a trending population has a bigger population. I want to believe there's a suburban town. It is generally 60% Republican. Keep in mind, but because of low turnout, there's going to be a good possibility that's going to flip. I expect her to win it by like 51%, not by much, but it is a suburban district, and I expect if she's going to win this election, she's likely going to carry this one. So this is pretty much my prediction. Then again, you'll see that not many counties other than these two are shifting in like the 50%. Van Epps is expected to win the countryside over here, the west of the district, by like 70, 60%. Okay, but the real question is how many people are turning out. Now, Tennessee TennesseeLookout.com is suggesting this is not looking good for Republicans. So, yeah, basically it's saying, as an off-cycle special election, turnout in the special election primary for Tennessee's 7th congressional district race was down significantly compared to the 2024 general election. Yeah, sure, yeah, we know that. Water is wet. This is a special election. And it's low for Democrats also, but Republicans are going to be much lower. You'll see across both parties' primaries, around 67,000 votes were cast last month compared to the almost 300,000 in 2024, when now retired U.S. Representative Mark Green, a Clarksville Republican, beat Democrat Megan Barry by nearly 20 percentage points. But in a glimmer of hope for Democrats, their primary turnout of 31,000 nearly matched that of Republicans with 36,000. The Democratic Party hasn't won Tennessee's 7th congressional district in over 40 years. And in 2022, the district was redrawn as part of a Republican gerrymander. So, yeah, it's looking very possible. You'll see here's the map of the current turnout. So basically, precincts where turnout was down 85%. You're seeing Republican districts. I want to believe these are Democrat districts. Oh, these are Republican. Both. So turnout is, Republicans are not turning out as much here. Turnout's low in Clarks, Montgomery County. Yeah, this is not good. I mean, yeah, you have low turnout over here. But then again, you do have election day. The Republicans generally turn out on election day. That is tomorrow. And we're going to see how that goes. But I'm expecting that, yeah, it's not going to be as what we're thinking. Yeah, Republican turnout's very low in Nashville. Very low. I mean, yeah, a little bit of Democrat. You have low Democrat. In the populated areas, that's where Republicans want to try to carry. And it looks like it's not going to work out that way. So this is my prediction. But I do want to go ahead and disclose that a lot of people will try to doom over this. A lot of people, and the Democrats will take this, and they're going to run, and they're going to celebrate this. They're going to throw a huge party. They're going to say the GOP is dead. Trump lost. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't think Trump endorsed Matt Van Epps. I don't know if he has, or maybe he hasn't. I don't think the Trump endorsement would have done anything at this point. And I mean, going back to Red Eagle, I really do think he should be talking about this. I don't know. I can't judge Red Eagle, but part of me thinks that, let's be honest, I think he thinks this is going to go red, and I think he's overestimating the results, and I'm not expecting. All I want is, hey, I mean, Red Eagle is a very experienced, very well-informed analyst. I trust his judgment to a point, but if we lose tomorrow night, I don't want to hear Red Eagle. I don't want to hear Red Eagle talk about Tennessee and how bad Republicans have done, even though the warning signs were out there. We had polls showing a close race. We saw turnout at an all-time low. and we are still ignorantly expecting Van Epps to pull it out because of 2024 election results that don't matter anymore. This is a special election. So, yeah, I am basically saying, look, don't act all shell-shocked to see the Democrat flip this. Is it a big win for Democrats? Sure, but not really, because this is very normal for the opposition party. Very, very, very normal. And that's what a lot of people tend to forget. A lot of people don't realize how normal this is. The Democrats, of course, we know, swept in 2025 in a blue wave. Yes, it was a pretty big blue wave. But this is normal, especially for the beginning of a new administration. The first year of the new administration. This has historically been precedent that there has been an opposition wave in the beginning of every new administration. And this proved to be precedented. This proved to be no different. 2025 proved to be no different. Let's go ahead and look across the couple years. You'll see 2021 was a red wave. You'll see Republicans picked up Virginia, a state that voted for Glenn Youngkin by like 2 points. This is a state that backed Joe Biden by like 11, 10 points. Okay, a lot of people are basically putting the put the nail in the coffin for Republicans in the state. This is no longer a swing state, yada, yada, yada. But then comes Glenn Youngkin. He flips a state that was a double digits Democratic. And yet you have also New Jersey, which ended up almost flipping for Republican Jack Ciattarelli in a very tight race. He ended up losing this by 3 and significantly underperforming in the polls. So this was, of course, historic when it comes to this. So this is, of course, a red wave, quote unquote. So yeah, they're even saying that Glenn Youngkin prevailed against Democratic nominee Terry McAuliffe in an upset. I don't understand why they would call that an upset, because really, you got to look at the historic patterns. In 2017, there we go again. We have another example of a blue wave, opposition party wave, the start of the Trump administration. You have, of course, Alabama. You have Alabama going blue, okay? And this Tennessee is largely going to be considered Alabama at this point. Very poor turnout in the said election, and Republicans not motivated to get out and vote because they have no reason to get out and vote. Their guy is in the White House. Meanwhile, you have the opposition party who are very angry, right? There's a reason why the opposition party are winning these elections the first year of every administration, and that is because they're angry that the guy that they ran against lost, and they are angry that their opponent is now the president. And they're likely going to be the ones to get out and vote. They still have that anger from losing the previous election. Okay? They still have that anger inside of them. And that's what you saw in 2017, 2025, and 2021. And yes, you saw Alabama. And now a lot of people kind of said Virginia, it's a blue state. It doesn't really matter. Although it was a little bit better. It was way better compared to, let's just say, 2025. I would take 2017 Virginia any day than 2025 Virginia. But you also had the flip taking out Phil Murphy. A lot of people expected this result, but a lot of people that ruined the year for Republicans was Alabama. That runoff, or that December 12th election, that really spoiled and very, very well soured the year, ruined the year for Republicans when it came to elections. And the Democrats did what they did in 2025. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Trump's unpopular. The Republican Party's dead. This is the same thing they said 8 years ago during 2017. Nothing different. But here's the funny thing, because they tell us that Obama is the greatest president of the 21st century. They'll continue to tell us this. Even though Obama lost most elections in his tenure, being the official leader of the Democratic Party, than actually winning. You'll see, first thing he comes into office, you would think 2009 would be an amazing year for Obama. He goes in, he largely is credited for fixing the economy. Nope, that doesn't matter. Republicans are angry that Obama is the president, and they got out and voted. They flipped 2 states that significantly voted for Obama by over 5 percentage points, New Jersey and Virginia. You'll see Chris Christie ended up flipping New Jersey by in a margin of 4 points. Although he didn't really get 50%, you could see John Corzine probably win a second term. I'm not sure, actually. Chris Daggett probably ruined John Corzine's chances. But Virginia, you will also see that Bob McDonnell ends up flipping the state red in a landslide, winning areas like Northern Virginia, pretty blue today. He carried that, along with the Richmond area. Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty big red wave, and not to mention, put more context into it, the red wave continued into 2010, as you should know, as, if I'm not mistaken, there was an election in 2010 when it came to the Massachusetts special election, when it wasn't involving Elizabeth Warren. We do know that. That saw the election of Scott Brown. Okay, I don't know if that was a part of the 2010 race or the 2013 race. I want to believe 2013 was a pretty good year for the Democrats. You can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I think it's likely going to be in 2010. Yeah, it is in 2010. It wasn't added. But yes, in January of 2010, just a short few months after Election Day, Election Day, yeah, the red wave continued into January, where Republicans flipped Massachusetts. This was a pretty big shock wave, okay, because Massachusetts is very liberal. It strongly backed Obama, and you probably would say, Republicans probably saying, the American people were turning on Obama. The people are rejecting Obama. People are doing this. No, I don't. Well, they did do that, obviously, but that narrative didn't really stick because, let's be honest, a lot of people like Obama still. It's because Republicans are angry and they're getting out the votes. Democrats didn't have a reason to get out and vote because their guy is in office. Their guy is passing progressive reform. Therefore, they really don't have the reason to get out and vote. But now Trump's back in the White House. They're angry. They're on the streets marching, screaming on the top of their lungs. Republicans, we have Trump. We're not motivated to vote for establishment candidates. We're likely going to stay home. This is kind of the likely outcome, and that's kind of how it goes. So you got, of course, Massachusetts, which I would just generally count as a 2009 pickup, because this is kind of it's closer to the 2009 red wave than it is to the 2010 red wave. Much closer to that when it comes to that effect and the issues. But then going into 2001, interestingly enough, after 9/11, you had Republicans' approval rating skyrocketing. George W. Bush pretty much had a very good first term, despite having a rough start, like every single president has. The September 11th should have ended him, really, because he proved to be a national security liability. He allegedly knew about 9/11, and it turns out that the American people approved of his leadership. They saw him as a leader, and they saw confidence in him. His approval rating went up to the 90s, okay, after September 11th. And despite that, the Democrats still managed to sweep out Republicans in a blue wave in 2001, okay? And the Wikipedia correctly pointed this out. This is a typical showing for an opposition party off year elections, but typically in elections that are generally during the first year of the new presidency. So the opposition party is going to reject the presidency of the party of the primacy overwhelmingly in these first year of every administration. You see Virginia, yeah, this is a state that voted for Bush by like 5 points. You saw Mark Warner flipping the state blue by 5 points, okay? So Democrats gained. Virginia wasn't even recognized as a blue state. You have Republican areas. At the time, Nova was viewed as a Republican area. Bush did very well up here. Yeah, Nova flipped, going for Democrats. And generally, the Richmond area got more bluer. Now, going to New Jersey. Now, generally, a state that voted for Al Gore. It's kind of voting in that same level. But, it would be expected, but it was largely anticipated that this state would flip, and it did flip. Now, a lot of Republicans would probably be shocked if, after 2009, the momentum, the overwhelming approval of Bush and the Republican Party, that Democrats ended up flipping a seat overall. And why? Because despite people feeling at ease with Republicans in 2001, the opposition, there are a lot of Democrats that's, blame Bush for 9/11, and those Democrats are going to very likely go out and vote. Now, there is a chance that there were a lot of Republicans that said, we got to go and we got to vote for Republicans because of 9/11. These governor races, they don't really have an impact to the Middle East. They don't really have an impact to the foreign policy, the foreign world. They don't really have much of that impact. So obviously, this was a lot of this. I wouldn't say it surprised, because this was very typical. I mean, 1993, we're still going on to continuing this record. Bill Clinton is elected president. Guess what happens? Red wave, okay? Republicans swept, gained 2 seats, Virginia and New Jersey. Yeah, Christine Todd Whitman is elected to a state that's generally Democratic. Clinton ended up flipping the state, although in the 1990s it was more common to win red states to win blue states, and blue states to win red states, because you had less polarized figures, unlike today. But you got Republicans winning everything. Republican +2, Democrats didn't carry anything. So I'm just saying, if Democrats want to celebrate 2025, great. But then again, they are really hyping up something that is really normal, okay? This is normal, all right? And I'm telling you, to all the panicans out there that are saying, oh, Trump's presidency is done, we're going to lose Tennessee. No, this is normal. Folks, Obama lost Virginia. Obama lost New Jersey. Obama lost Massachusetts going into the midterms. And ultimately, he lost the midterms. But you know what? His legacy, although we conservatives say it's a bad legacy, let's be honest, and anyone with common sense, a lot of independents like Obama. A lot of Democrats, they still like Obama. Obama got reelected in 2012, despite that. So this is what the Democrats are going to try to do, okay? They're going to take the Tennessee results and say, MAGA's dead, Trump's lost, the Republicans are going to lose, it's going to be a blue wave, and it's up to us not to fall for that. No, they're trying to discourage you, and I just went over the truth. This is normal. This is normal. And I meant it when I said it. I said 2025 is not our year to win. What do you think I meant by? This is a start of a new administration. The first year of every new administration tends to be tough and rough. And generally the opposition party, that's the year that the opposition party is the most angriest. Because if you go back through history, it generally gets better for the ruling party. Like, for example, okay, I mean, President Trump in 18 didn't really have a bad midterm. We did keep the Senate, which was determined to be Democrat. We overperformed in 2018, and that was a small W. Kentucky in 2019 was disappointing, but that was really the fault of Matt Bevin being an unpopular governor. But I specifically want to talk about Obama, for example, okay? Because Obama had a pretty bad midterm. And that's because, it's still the start of a new presidency. Second year in, I mean, you still have halfway way to go. Let's go all the way to 2009. So yeah, Republicans swept, although Democrats did keep the House, but they didn't gain anything. They kept the Senate, excuse me. But look at here, 2011, you have a little bit of a better result for Democrats. Democrats managed to keep Kentucky blue. Okay, Steve Beshear, largely very popular governor, largely anticipated to win re-election. However, prediction sources were predicting a much, much closer margin. I would say Sabudu managed to make the best and most accurate prediction, and they were correct on that. Although this is a solid Democrat victory. West Virginia, another red state, was kept Democratic. You added the acting governor, although he wasn't officially governor, he managed to win re-election in a close race. So I say 2011 was a pretty good year for Democrats. That's how it usually goes. That's what you saw with Biden in 2023. Okay, people warmed up. Okay, Republicans got less angry. We saw a red wave in 2021. Republicans cooled off a bit in 2022. Wrong time to cool off. 2023, they didn't show up in Kentucky. Democrats did well. And to be honest, part of it was the Roe v. Wade that motivated Democrats to get out and vote, which was very abnormal, specifically because usually they don't show that much. The ruling party doesn't really show that much energy when the ruling party's in power. Okay, so that was a little bit abnormal, and in order for Republicans to get out and vote, something bad has to happen that kind of enrages Republicans to the point that they get out and vote. Okay, in 2023, yeah, Biden was bad, but we just kind of learned how to deal with it. We kind of managed, and we just didn't think to get out and vote. And that wasn't the first thing that came, and that was consequential. Now we're back we're the ruling party. That's good. But being the consequence of being the ruling party means that, hey, look, we got to be on defense now. And really, 2025 is not a defense year, really. Well, actually, for Virginia. But Virginia was a nail in the coffin. Let's be honest. We weren't going to pick it up. We were probably going to keep the Attorney General's race. We didn't. That was very disappointing. That was a letdown. But we're still playing defense, especially in Tennessee right now, the 7th district. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of Republicans that think that Republicans are going to win. I'm not saying they can't. I hope they do win, and I really hope I'm wrong. And I wish Red Eagle would talk about this. He has not talked about this at all. It'd be very frustrating if he ends up talking about this when we lose. It's just because, why didn't you talk about this to begin with? You just assumed that we were going to win, even though we had signs, polls, financing, and just lack of motivation to get out and vote that indicated that this was going to be a very close race. So really, and not to mention this year's been, it's the opposition party's year. It's always the opposition party's year in the first year of a new administration, like I've said. So it's likely, like you saw with Obama, he lost Massachusetts in 2010. That was a major blow to Democrats. Trump lost Alabama in 2017. This might be our indicator. We may lose Tennessee in 2025. Tennessee 7th District. Now, what about people say, what about Joe Biden? I would say Virginia was more close to that alignment, even though Virginia, well, let's be honest, people were saying Virginia was solid blue going after Biden won in 2020 with Virginia. They said, oh, this is it. Virginia solid Democratic, because Virginia this is the biggest. Joe Biden won Virginia, the largest margin in Virginia since, I want to believe, Truman, if I'm not mistaken. Harry Truman. 54%. This is the biggest Democratic victory. And with that being said, people were saying, yep, it's done for Virginia. Virginia has become a Maryland at this point. It's going to be solid Democratic in 2024. And 2021 just totally screwed that up. So I would say Virginia would be an example of a loss, a state that Biden and the Democrats should have won in context. It would have been very bad if they lost New Jersey. That would have been that for sure. But Virginia was kind of in that realm of things. But it wasn't long ago that where Virginia was still labeled a swing state, especially during the 2012, 2008 elections. So that's, a lot of people are still stuck in that mindset. So that's why people can't necessarily say, well, Virginia, well, it's a purple state still. With red, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because Republicans were angry. Just like Democrats were angry in 2017 and flipped Alabama. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because Democrats are counting on your ignorance. Democrats will get into your emotions. Democrats will whisper in your ear and say it's over. Trump has lost it. He's lost. His 4 years are over. The American people have turned on Trump. Democrats are back. Are they back? To me personally, I never really believed the Democratic Party was gone. Basically, because this is so normal when it comes to the aftermath of presidential elections. Popularity to the losing party goes down, and then it goes back up again. And although it was a little bit slow during this year, because the Democrats are in a civil war right now. You have the far left disapproving of the Democratic Party and their own leadership. So that's why they're 25%. You have Republicans and the far left together voting disapprove in the polls. So the Democratic Party at large is more popular than what the polls are actually saying. So don't take those polls for granted. Just like we don't take Trump's approval rating for granted. We should take no poll for granted. Yeah, this is kind of my prediction. It's unfortunate, and I often root against my predictions because I care about winning so much, but when it comes to predicting and being accurate, I have to be completely honest with myself. Are we in a good state to win right now? The answer is no. I've covered this election, and the cons and the negatives overwhelmingly take over the positives, I've noticed. There's nothing really positive to say for Matt Van Epps. Low turnout, very excited Democratic base. And, hey, the worst thing is going to happen is we lose this district. We get a net gain of 0, by the way, in the House of Representatives. And it's going to stink. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to hurt. But I am going to say, look, we can either be despairing, we can rage over the results, which I'm telling you right now, this is probably likely or not likely. It's a coin flip. It is a serious coin flip. It's either going Democrat or Republican. It's really up. But if we lose, then raging about it is not going to do anything, because we do know the problem. It's low turnout. Republicans are not excited to get out and vote. They got Trump in office. They're happy. They got everything they need. Democrats are angry. Democrats believe voting is a way to fight against Trump. And really, it's just the same mentality that Republicans had against Obama. We flipped Virginia. We flipped New Jersey in 2009. We flipped a ton of House seats in 2010 and tons of Senate seats in 2010. I would say we had an okay year in 2011. We got wiped out in 2012. Yeah, Republicans had that mentality, and the reason why I say we got wiped out in 2012, keep in mind, red wave. Yeah, the Republican Party, I think there are a lot of Republicans that were thinking, yeah, the Democrat Party's dead. The people hate the Democrats. Obamacare is destroying the country, even though, yeah, I believe the Affordable Care Act, whenever it was signed into law, let's see, I don't want to say Affordable Care Act. When was it signed? 2010, yes. And that really was the nail in the coffin for Democrats, which indicated the red wave of 2010. And yes, so yeah, they were saying, yeah, this is proof that the Affordable Care Act is horrible. And then all of a sudden, Democrats all show up in 2012 to get their hero Obama reelected. And it was a huge reality check for Republicans. Like, oh, wait, hang on. Oh, wait. The Democrats are actually more popular than we thought. You see, this is what happened with Democrats in 2017, 2020. They were saying how bad Republicans are. Oh, Republicans lost Alabama. Republicans lost Kansas in the governorship. They lost Nevada and Wisconsin and Michigan and Arizona. It's all Trump's fault. Oh, they lost Kentucky. This is so bad. They lost Louisiana. They're losing red states. And then they're dumbfounded to learn that, hang on, wait, Trump didn't lose Texas. Trump didn't lose Florida. Trump didn't lose North Carolina because we showed up. People were motivated to get out to vote for Trump. Because when Trump is on the ballot, when the guy you like is on the ballot, people show up to vote. And generally, turnout is much higher in presidential elections than they are midterm elections and off-year elections. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So in midterms 2026, we're going to probably have a higher turnout for Republicans, but not matching the presidential turnout. Keep in mind, not the same as presidential turnout, but the question is, who's angrier? Right now, it's the Democrats, unless something bad happens that makes Republicans very angry. Which, we live in a crazy world. I mean, crazy planet, anything can happen. But Democrats are angry, and because they're angry, they're likely going to vote in droves. So that's something that Republicans just kind of have to accept and adapt to, but that doesn't mean that we can't try. We can't try to push the get out to vote effort. So anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? A lot of people will say, oh, this is bad news. I say the only good news in this, the only thing we can take home from this result is that, hey, look, our party needs to suffer. Our party needs to have some pain. And hopefully, the pain is significant enough that it actually gets our base, the GOP, the RNC, the White House, the Trump administration, and the Republican Party at large to actually talk, have a sit-down conversation, and say, hang on, we got to actually address this issue. This is a crisis. This isn't a problem. This is a crisis. And I'm just saying, if this needs to happen, if we have to lose the House before the midterms, I welcome it. I welcome it, and I will embrace it, hoping that this improves the this actually grows Republicans actually, it gets into their skin saying that, okay, we got to change this outcome. We can't let this happen again. Yeah, I mean, you got to have to experience, like, for example, Zohran Mamdani in New York. These socialists, these young women, and these young men, the college-age students, the white liberals, they're so ignorant and stupid. We told them over and over and over, socialism doesn't work. Socialism's just going to make things more unaffordable. And they're like, no, you're just being a boomer. And we're like, okay, fine. Elect him. Elect a socialist. And they did. They elected Zoran Mondani. And because they did that, I'm not boo-hoo whining crying, oh no, New York is done. No, actually, I have good positive feelings for New York, because New York will have a huge turnaround after they experience what socialism is like. Sometimes you actually gotta experience the pain in order to have an actual turnaround. And I do think New York is going to turn around once they find out what in the Mondani administration, what an actual socialist mayor is like. What actual socialism is like. Because nowhere in the world has socialism succeeded. Nowhere. Oh, well, we never tried socialism. Yeah, we never tried socialism, but other countries have. And they're telling us we're stupid. You guys are stupid. You guys are ignorant. You guys are full of it. So, yeah, I'm like, hey, I welcome it. Yeah, Zoran, do your thing. Because these socialists will never shut up. They will never admit, unless they are proven wrong, by experiencing it the hard way, or finding out the hard way. And unfortunately, Republicans are going to have feel the same. Yep, Republicans are going to have the same outcome. Republicans are going to have to feel the pain of losing Senate seats and House seats and losing the majority, because they are not addressing this issue. And until we actually feel this actually hurt us so bad, this excruciating pain, this will incentivize Republicans to actually at least look into this issue. That's my hope. That's the only thing we can take home for sure on election night tomorrow. The hope that the GOP actually says, we saw it coming. We did nothing about this, and we accept the outcome. I accept the outcome because we did nothing to address this issue. So, I'm not moaning and groaning over this. I'm aware of the history. This is very normal. We lost Alabama. Obama and the Democrats lost Massachusetts. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, yes. Obama lost Massachusetts. That was a big blunder for them. Biden lost Virginia. It's not guaranteed that we're going to lose Tennessee. It's not precedented that we lose these big red-blue states to the opposition. No. But it can happen. It absolutely can. And I'm just saying, when Democrats laugh at your face over this, just remind them. I would say Obama had it much worse in 2009 because he lost blue states. He lost Democrat states to Republicans. He lost Massachusetts. Okay, we lose this seat. We can at least say, hey, wait, this has Nashville right here. So what are you laughing about? Really, you Democrats have an advantage that, they have Nashville and they are the higher propensity voter. So why are you laughing? We already knew this was going to be a close race. They're just going to laugh anyway to get under your skin. That's just how they go. But I'm just saying, don't let it bother you. You know the truth. You know why we lost. We know this isn't Trump's fault, even though I think Trump should have addressed this race much more and actually tweeted about this race much more, which shows that there is a lot of Republicans that actually think we're going to win this race, and I am not ready. And I do not want to hear the boo-hoo whining and crying. No, I told you what we're going to do if we lost. We're going to acknowledge the outcome. We're going to accept the outcome. We're going to admit that, yep, the GOP screwed up with not pushing the vote, not addressing the low propensity vote, being willy-nilly about this and being wishy-washy about it. And it's about time you actually experience the pain and the consequences so you can better fix this outcome. So anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.